Yo, what's going on, man? Today is January the 5th, 2024. This is your boy Chris. This is the ChrisBeCappinn NBA show. I'm live on Twitter right now. I'm also live on YouTube. So no matter where you join, I appreciate everybody for being here today. For supporting the show as always. We got a lot of games to get into. So let's do it. Before we do so, though, I want to just ask everyone hit the like button for me if you can. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Turn the notification bell on, especially for like weekend shows, so you guys know when I go live, because it's typically a bunch of different times. So if you're interested in weekend shows, I typically don't do them too often, but potentially could do one tomorrow. I think the schedule kind of lines up for some good games tomorrow. If we don't get manipulated with the injury report, there are a couple teams tonight to play on the front end of a back-to-back, so gonna be definitely got to keep an eye on news like that. But I think we could potentially get a weekend show for this weekend. So may want to turn the notification bell on if you guys are interested at all in the weekend shows. So let's jump. The last thing before we jump into it, because we got 14 game card. I talked about this yesterday. Last thing I want to mention real quick before we get started is what was it? It was one more thing I wanted to mention. I'm not sure what it was. Not sure what it was, but it'll come back to me. It's been a long week. It'll definitely come back to me. So, real quick, let's jump. Oh, I know what I wanted to talk about. I wanted to do a recap of yesterday. Always open and honest with you guys. I ended up after this when I did the show yesterday. I talked about not liking a lot. I ended up making 3 plays. I played the Bucks first half. I talked about the Bucks and the Spurs first half team total to go over, and that was a winner. Minus, I think it was 120. They did go over that number. I put a half unit on that. I also played the Bucks full game and the Spurs full game total to go over. Super frustrating, because typically when I bet a under, it goes over by a couple points, but this time I bet a over and it goes under by a couple points. And I think a lot of it had to do with Chris Middleton not being available in the second half, which none of us knew that information. So pretty frustrating there. So 1-1 on the day. And then I also played that Denver and Golden State under. Probably should have stayed with the Denver first quarter in retrospect, but played the under for the full game. And you see Denver just have one of their worst defensive games of the season. They gave up, what was it, like 100 and like what, 20 something points last night. So that game definitely goes over. Jokic is the game winner, and we finished 1-2 on the day. So kind of like I said, didn't really love the slate too much, but definitely looking to attack today and see what I can find. So we're gonna jump right into it. A lot of games on the board for today. Try to give you guys my notes. Not some of the games I'm just gonna be really quick and concise on, because it's not a lot that I absolutely love, and I'm not gonna waste your time with those games. So we're just gonna jump right into it. First game up, we got Jazz and we got Celtics. So this line was at 14, and the total was at 239.5 the last time I checked when I made these banners a few hours ago. So right now it looks like the line is still 14 and the total is still 239.5. So looking at this game, just kind of give you guys my notes. So the Jazz, this team has actually been playing pretty well recently. They're 7-3 against the spread in their last 10, coming off the overtime win where they didn't cover against Detroit. They were laying a few too many points in that game. They have covered, however, 4 of their last 5 road games and 4 games overall in a row on the road. This is the first leg of a back-to-back. They play in Philly tomorrow against the 76ers, and then they get one day off, and then they have to go to Milwaukee and play again. So they got a really tough 4-day road stretch where we probably going to end up fading them, because I think they're going to run out of gas towards the end. I want to say it's one more difficult team as well, but whenever so you got Boston, Philly, and in Milwaukee. So yeah, you definitely want to fade them in one of those spots, especially maybe opponent team total to go over. But specifically for this game, just wanted to kind of give you the notes on them. Boston side, this is a standalone home game for Boston after the 123-127 loss in OKC. That game, of course, happened a couple days ago, so you get a rested Boston team. However, this is the first leg of a back-to-back here for them as well. They actually play in Indiana tomorrow. I think the game tomorrow is probably going to be taken a little more seriously, especially for a couple of different reasons. First and foremost, because they lost the in-season tournament game against Indy, and then had to watch Indy beat Milwaukee in that game as well. And then, of course, this game right here is not a conference game. So I think they take the game against Indy, especially watching Indy, beat Milwaukee 2 times over the last couple of days, and trying to assert themselves with the greats. So I do think that Boston takes the game tomorrow a tad bit more serious. Can't lay 14 with them in this spot. Wouldn't surprise me if they were able to get the job done. we know that Boston first quarter, first half has been a thing, whether you take their team total to go over or you just take them, against the spread. I will say this, Utah, not great on the road. We know that. And you think about how easy it was for Detroit to score in that last game. Boston could really come out here and absolutely light this team up. They really, really could. I'm not sure what's going to happen with Indiana being on deck for tomorrow. I really wanted to get there with Boston because I wanted to fade Utah off the overtime game, but couldn't quite get there. Head-to-head, Utah has covered the last two meetings, and last season versus Boston, with Boston winning by 6 at home on a 13-point spread. So they were able to come into Boston and cover. And they actually Boston ended up losing one outright, 118 to 117 as a 4.5-point favorite. So Utah has covered and went 1-1 over the last two games. So my strongest look for this game, like I said, I really want to take Utah plus the points, but my strongest look for this game was fading Marketing. I like Marketing to go under. Looking at his points plus rebounds, I know people not really into unders. I'm into whatever makes money, and I think a couple different reasons I want to fade Marketing. So Laurie's good. We know Laurie's really good, but off the overtime game, cross-country travel, only 1 day of rest, playing against one of the better defenses in the league, first leg of a back-to-back as well. Also, just looking at the Utah team, they've gotten a lot healthier. When we think about, Colin Sexton being inserted into the starting lineup, getting Keontae George back, Walker Kessler, Kelly Olynyk, they just got a lot of pieces. And when you think about Boston, they give up points, but it's typically to the guard position. We remember Cade came in there about a week ago and almost beat them outright, dropped 30 on them. Tyrese Halliburton hit him for the in-season tournament game, went crazy against them. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander just went crazy against them. So they typically contain forwards and, big men. They struggle, however, guard. So I think Colin Sexton and Keontae George and Jordan Clarkson probably got a better matchup here. We always talk about Jrue Holiday, getting a little bit older, even though he still is one of the premier defenders in the league on ball. So I like Laurie to go under. Boston, I looked at them. They're allowing just the 8th fewest points to the power forward position over the last 7 games. Laurie's coming off a game where he had 31-7 in his last game, but that was against Detroit, one of the worst defenses in the league. And Boston also allows the 2nd fewest rebounds to the power forward position over the last 7 games as well. So before Laurie had actually cleared that game against Detroit, he went under in the 2 games before. And like I said, I think it's because of the fully healthy roster. So Laurie marketed if I was going to play anything strong lean here. Didn't quite get there. I think the number did come up to 29.5 on one book as well. So I like fading Marketing for all the reasons that I just said. Those are my top thoughts in this game. I'm going to try to go through the comments, but I'm going to try to go through it really, really quick so we can keep going. Try not to make the show super long today. Prolific says, Fast Money Fridays, liking the Pacers game over. Also, please hit the like and subscribe. Plus, join the channel. People appreciate that, Prolific. My God, always in here rocking with me. What's up, Benjamin? He says, should be a great day with such a big, large slate. What's up, Tasha? David says, happy Friday, my brother. Canceled out on a bad night by cashing Clay Ladder. Okay, he won the 15, the 16.5, and the 20, and just fell short of the 25. What up, Young Harlow? KP just joined as a member. I always appreciate that. Appreciate my members as well. I might do a member show tonight, just to look ahead for tomorrow. I got to do something special for my members. Maybe give out some ChrisBeCappinn merch as well. Shout out to the members, man. Appreciate you guys for joining the membership. $5.99 a month to get my plays. We still up on the season. We up about 22 units. I got to continue to do the math, and put it across the spreadsheet. Haven't done so in about 3 or 4 days, but we up on the season. Appreciate you guys for tapping in. David, community challenge number 2. He says 2 members during the live stream. Major shout out to KP for becoming one more to go. Appreciate that as well. What's up, Derek? Hobby. Tasha said, push the like buttons up. Yeah, I appreciate the love, man. All positive vibes in the chat. What's up, Kenneth? He says, Fruitful Fridays. J Pro, Real DJ, Navi, always. Tariq, always. Vaughn, always. My guys in here with me. What's up, Free Minds? Cool. He said, a very appealing slate today. Drop a like, follow, and subscribe, Chris. Tackling this large slate. What up, Locked and Loaded? SK, call me Aries, man. The Markel, my God. Hey, appreciate everybody for coming through, man. What up, Ken? Let's see. All right, let's keep going. We're gonna keep the comments short today. Love y'all, man. Appreciate y'all. Always all love, but we got a big slate. I only got 2 bottles of water today, so we're gonna try to get through this slate. All right, so next game up, we going to Philly. We got the 76ers. They will be at the crib today. They are laying 6 points, 6-point home favorites for the Philadelphia 76ers. If you guys know me, if anybody knows me in the chat, you know that I'm very disciplined. I'm very precise. I try to be pretty sharp, and I stick to my guns, right? I said this after we lost the other day with the Knicks when the Knicks beat the Minnesota Timberwolves. I said I'm staying off the Knicks games. I said I'm staying off Knicks games for 2 weeks, and I'm gonna stick to that. I looked at this game yesterday. Yesterday before, like I said, I capped this game yesterday before the game even dropped. Knew I wasn't gonna play anything, but Philly it feels right, and I'm not gonna do it just because Philly does feel right. And every time I fade the Knicks, they typically do whatever I need them not to do. So I didn't play the game. My first initial look was the over. This game opened up at 226, and it's all the way up to 233. I think that, you know, when you think about pace for these two teams, Philly is an offensive juggernaut. This team is top 5 both in offensive and defensive rating, right? We know how good they are at home, 13-4 straight up, and against the spread at the crib. This is the first leg of a back-to-back, however. They play Utah tomorrow. Not a game that I think that, and it's a home game, not a game that I think that they are going to, really like get up for or be looking ahead to. Looking at this Knicks team, they are 9-10-1 against the spread at home. First leg of a back-to-back for them as well. They got a game tomorrow, but I'm pretty sure they're not looking ahead to the Washington Wizards in DC. They have won both of their games on their 2-game homestand. It's funny because the Knicks and the Raptors made the trade, and both teams are undefeated since they made the trade. So OG Anunoby's fitting well with that team. They caught the Timberwolves slipping in the early start time, and then they caught Chicago in the second leg of a back-to-back as well, and they were a little injury riddled in that game. Chicago still put up a fight in the first half, but they did end up losing that game by double digits, and the Knicks ended up covering. So for this game, I think initially looking at it, I really wanted to get there with Philly team total to go over. I think it opened at 116.5 yesterday. And of course, now the number has gone up with the total continuing to go up as well. That team total right now is 119.5. Philly's offense has been absolutely just clicking on all cylinders, man. Joel Embiid is a big problem for anybody trying to guard him. When he's not scoring, he's facilitating, he's rebounding. And that's the way I kind of chose to play this game. I think looking at the game, I like Joel Embiid just to kind of stay away from the spread, stay away from the total. Joel Embiid PRA is 50.5. If you go back and I'm not going to rattle off all the numbers, but if you go back and look at the numbers that Joel Embiid has played, keeping in mind that Philly typically wins games at home by double digits, so he don't play a lot of the fourth quarters. He just had a triple-double against the Chicago Bulls the other day through 3 quarters and didn't even touch the floor in the fourth quarter. So to me, that number seems a tad bit too low. Philly, while the Knicks are a really, really good defensive team, their defense has really struggled on the road. This will be the first game with OG Anunoby on the road, but their defense is really taking a step back on the road, specifically since Mitchell Robinson has been gone. That's where this team typically gives up a bunch of points. This is the first meeting between the two teams this season. So I don't, like I said, I'm not playing a side. I'm not playing a total. Just not going to, because like I said, 2 weeks, no Knicks for me. That gives me a chance to kind of analyze this team and evaluate them with OG Anunoby as well. But I think Philly could cover this spread. And I think that the game could go over because I don't believe in the Knicks defense without Mitchell Robinson. Precious Achiuwa will be in there trying to slow down Joel Embiid. He's not going to be able to get the job done. And I think Isaiah Hartenstein could really get in foul trouble early in this spot. So I think Embiid PRA is the best look. That's what I'll say. And I'm not going to stay on the game for too long. But I think Embiid PRA over 50.5, over 51.5. That's like a legit like 35, the dude averaged. I think Joel Embiid averaged 40 in the month of December. I just want to check that real quick because I was looking at it earlier. I think I might have wrote it down, but just real quick. Let me look at something real quick. Joel Embiid, he averaged 40 in the month of December. He averaged 40, 12.6, and 4 assists. So that's good for 56 points, rebounds, and assists. And I think he kind of keeps it going. In the game, the only game that he's played since he came back from injury, he played 31 minutes, like I said the other day, and that was against Drummond. I think Drummond's a better defender than Isaiah Harden. Well, I don't know. Drummond ain't really a good defender. He's more of a good rebounder. But He cleared this number of 51.5 points, rebounds, and assists in just 3 quarters the other day with 31, 15, and 10. So if they double, he gonna get the assist. If they don't double, nobody can guard him. And regardless, I think he gets the rebounds today. So I like Joel Embiid, points, rebounds, and assists over more than playing the side, more than playing the total in this one. Let's see what y'all saying about this one, then we'll get back to it. Yeah, 20 units not that good though, Cam. I need to be up more than 20 units, bro. If I bet every night, I'm trying to make at least a unit. If I could be profitable every night, we've had way more than 20 nights of basketball. I should be up a lot more units, even though I'm a straight bettor and I don't put a lot of plus money plays out there. I need to be up more than 20 units. It's actually very frustrating to me. Young Harlow says, appreciate whoever in the comment section last night gave Gonzaga first half team total over. Yeah, I appreciate everybody for dropping the plays as well, especially if they winners and you didn't cap the game. Locked and Lotus says Milton will be missed in this game, but I still slightly lean 76ers. Yeah, they did get they got I didn't mention it, but they got Nicholas Batum back. I think Batum is going to hound Jalen Brunson, right? We'll see how it goes, but Batum is a really good defender. I think he's an underrated defender as well, but I'm glad you pointed this out, Locked and Loaded. Vaughn said he played Embiid points. He plays well versus the Knicks, and we know the Knicks ain't doubling anybody because Tibbs stubborn. Defense still struggles without Mitch. I agree. Livestone says Embiid averages 23.1 against OG Anunoby and his team versus StatMuse. Yeah, I think that was more so when OG Anunoby was playing for Nick Nurse, who is now the coach of Joel Embiid. We'll see how it goes though. Jimmy likes OG over 4.5 boards. He said it clears both games since he became a Knick. I can honestly see him covering Embiid for a little and should be down low helping on the boards. Yeah, I can see that as well. Jimmy also says 155 watching, only 50 50 hitting the like button. Come on, man. It takes a second. Appreciate you as well for reminding people to hit the like button. For me, it definitely helps if you guys could do so. Thank you, and I appreciate that. Let's keep going. We got Thunder and we got Nets. We are in Brooklyn tonight for this game. I think this is one of the more intriguing games on the card. I talked about the other day for people who watched the show. The Nets were in Houston, and that line was coming down. I don't know if people remember that. I think it was like 6, and then the line came down. It came down from 6 to like all the way down to 4, and then they got smoked. It came all the way down and they got smoked. It's going to be interesting to see if that's what happens here again today. OKC, looking at this team, they're 9-5 straight up and against the spread on the road, 8-2 last 10. Off the loss, of course, against the Atlanta Hawks on Wednesday after the back-to-back with Boston. This is the second game with a 4-game road trip for them, and they play in Washington on Monday. So they get the whole weekend off after this game, and it's a good time to get their taste out of their mouth. Brooklyn, 11-5-1 against the spread at home, but they're just 1-9 against the spread in their last 10. First game back home off the 4-game road trip. As we see, Andrew Nembhard just got ruled out. Al Horford ruled out. Yeah, I like that over a little bit now. Tom Mart DM'd me too and said there's a FanDuel boost on Embiid. Hey, Tom Mart, if you still listening, what is the boost? Let me know what it is. I don't got time to look at it right now. But let me jump back into this game real quick. Also, with Philly, with Boston resting Al Horford, that tells me they care more about the game tomorrow versus the Indiana Pacers. If they're resting them against the non-conference opponent today, but he's gonna play tomorrow because he typically rests on the second leg of the back-to-back game. So especially with them having 2 days off, that means that makes me lean a little bit more towards the Jazz covering such a big spread, but I didn't quite get there. Also makes me lean a little bit more towards the over because Al Horford literally just going out there and clanking up threes. He make them every now and then, but clanking up a lot of threes and playing a little bit of defense. So like that game to go over, especially if Detroit can score that many points. Tom Mart says Embiid 30 points and 10 rebounds at plus 120. I'm not sure how Embiid doesn't score 30 points and gets 10 rebounds tonight, unless they know he's going to get hurt and slip on a slick spot. And I'm definitely not putting that on Embiid because he got enough going on with his injury history, but I'm not sure how that doesn't cash tonight. I like that a lot. 30 and 10 for Embiid sound like free money. We'll see what happens. All right, so getting back to this game, Brooklyn, like I said, 11-5-1 against the spread at home, just 1-9 in their last 10. First game back home off a 4-game road trip. They've actually failed to cover 7 games in a row. Count them: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games in a row. This team has absolutely been trash recently. And a lot of it is due to their offense. They scored 101 points against Houston. They scored 85 against New Orleans, and they only scored 108 against OKC in their last 3 games. They do host Portland on Sunday. So you get a team coming back home off the long road trip, with equal rest. And now they don't get to now that the team that they're playing against actually has more rest than them. I don't really like that spot for Brooklyn at all. Brooklyn just got smoked against OKC on the 31st. That was 124-108. We were on the first half, which is where Brooklyn couldn't miss a shot. Brooklyn did take my money that night because I had a -4.5. They ended up losing the first half by 4. They did, but the Oklahoma City Thunder did win and cover that game, and they've won 4 games in a row against this team. So for whatever reason, OKC plays Brooklyn really, really close. 3 of the 4, they've actually gone under the total as well. So for some reason, Brooklyn plays them really, really well, and they can guard them. They can stop them from shooting out. And it makes sense, right? We know all Brooklyn want to do is run up and down the floor, jack up a bunch of threes. OKC is top 5 in the league at guarding the three-point line, right? So that makes sense. They probably got a bad taste in their mouth, feeling like they probably should have won the game against Atlanta. Atlanta almost blew a 17-point lead. OKC got that game all the way within 3 the other day. So for all of those reasons, I went and dove in just a tad bit more as well. OKC is 7-2 straight up this season, 8-1 against the spread following a loss. They're winning those games by average of 8 points, including 3-0 against the spread, 3-0 to the under if they're coming off a loss and they're on the road in the next game, which they are tonight. So that's more of support to back OKC in this spot and to support the under. OKC also 4-2 straight up and against the spread on the road versus teams with a losing record, which at this point, Brooklyn does have a losing record. They're winning those games by average of, I think it was 11 points. And then I looked at Brooklyn because Brooklyn, like I said, they did get smoked the other day. They're 1-2 straight up, 1-1 against the spread in home revenge games this season. So if they've lost to you, then they play you again. It's a small sample size. They're still losing those games by an average of 4 points. And the thing that sticks out to me the most is their defense. They're still giving up 121 points per game in this spot. So if you beat me at your crib and then you come to my crib and I'm supposed to be able to get revenge on you, but I'm still giving up 121 points, that lets me know that the defense is not good. The teams that they can't beat, they literally just can't beat. Some teams do well in revenge spots. Some teams don't. This number tells me that Brooklyn does not do good in revenge spots. So I lean. I didn't play it, but I do lean. I know that the number is coming down. I lean OKC to be able to cover this number. I also think that even if you don't want to take the spread, I think OKC team total to go over is probably a good look as well. That number for OKC, and I wrote this down, but I didn't look at what the number was. OKC team total today is what? Should be like 119.5. And like I just told you, they're giving up 121, and OKC is well rested in this spot. So I lean OKC. I think they can cover the 5, and I also think that they can go over their team total. Is the way I was looking at this game. Let me see what you guys are on here. Let's see. Let me see. I'm not going through all the comments. NLNB, this is funny. He says Nets the new Pistons. Oh man. I didn't go over the Pacers in the Hawks game yet. What is that, Christian? I'm gonna go over. I think that game's coming up next. Michael likes Brunson assists. He says that's a good look. What else? Steve also likes Brunson over 7.5 assists. He says average is 21 potential assists in the 2 games since the trade. I did see that. He has 9, 7, 11, and 7. Last 4 versus Philly. OG much less ball dominant than RJ. It makes a lot of sense. Shout out to Flo. I know he's been cashing on that since he left. So if you think that trend continues and that that the Knicks can knock down some shots, I don't think it's a bad look for Jalen Brunson. I typically stay off player props, especially for Knicks players, because they could easily go out there, shoot 8 for 34 from the 3-point line and just have a terrible night. Philly's also a really good defensive team from the 3-point line. So we'll see how it goes. Appreciate y'all for putting the boost in the chat. Let's see. What up, my guy S. Dot? Vaughn says, don't know what's going on with Brooklyn. Seems they've been underperforming all season, fading them until notice. I can't talk you off, Vaughn. I cannot talk. I wouldn't catch the falling knife. I would not catch that falling knife. Not from a team that's not responding to anything that's happening to their coach. And you get to step up in competition as well. So maybe they keep it close, but I think at the end of the day, OKC does win the game. They're on my short list. OKC minus the 5 is on my short list. But I made a few bets already, so I'm not really rushing to make any more. I love the bets that I did place today. We're gonna get to some of those games in a second. But OKC minus the 5 is on my short list. Or like I said, you could opt to a team total over. I think that keeps you away from the spread, and I do think that they can score. Estat likes OKC on the trifecta spot today. Benjamin says he's all over OKC. Over 119.5 is the team total that he got. He said first half and full game too. And Tasha says she also took that OKC team total over 119.5 as well. Tumili said he's on OKC money line. I don't know if you got that parlay, but a money line got to be a steep price. And I couldn't talk you off of this one either, Tasha. This one opened at 116.5. She's talking about the Philadelphia 76ers team total. She got it at 119.5. Could have got that yesterday, which is one of the reasons why I kind of stayed off. And Young Harlow with the super sticker. Appreciate you as well. Let's keep going, man. We got a lot more games to get into. So next game up, we actually got. I skipped some games. I didn't scroll all the way to the top. That's what I did. My fault. Let's go back a little bit. So this is another early game. We got Wizards and Cavs. I'm gonna be quick on this one. Don't really have a lot in this game. The Cavs are 10-point favorites again. They blew out the Washington Wizards. They won that game. What was it, like 140-101, I think. This is also back-to-back losses for the Washington Wizards. They gave up 270 points in their last two games. First leg of a back-to-back for them. They actually host the Knicks tomorrow. The Knicks probably going to score 130 against them tomorrow as well, especially with them being on the second leg of a back-to-back. And I can't look anywhere close to the Washington Wizards. They're not playing any defense. If they're not playing against a team that is not motivated defensively, then they don't really have a chance. Like they don't rebound the ball well, and they also don't play defense. And that's how you get blown out in the NBA. You got to be able to rebound the ball. You got to be able to play a little bit of defense. They don't have, but I think maybe one defender on this whole team, and that's a rookie. So best of luck to them. Cleveland, second game of at least a 5-game homestand. They actually don't play again until Sunday when San Antonio Spurs come into town. And head-to-head, Cleveland has won and covered the last 4 games. So big spread here. It was a big spread in the last game as well. I talked a lot about Jared Allen to go over his 15.5 rebounds plus assists in that last game. I want to say he cashed as soon as the third quarter started. He finished with like 26 or 27. I think he had 19 rebounds and 7 assists. He's been running a lot of that offense through him at the high post. I couldn't. The books adjusted the line, but I couldn't talk anybody off. The number did go up to 17.5 rebounds and assists, but it cashed on Wednesday. And unless Daniel Gafford grew a couple inches or a trade happened that I'm unaware of, that's going to give the Washington Wizards a little bit more rebounding. I think that this is another great matchup versus another bad defense and plenty of opportunity versus a team that play at the top 5 pace. I think Allen continues to be a playmaker, and like I said, he cashed this early. So I'll be looking at Jared Allen to go over his 17.5 rebounds and assists. Also couldn't talk anybody off Donovan Mitchell to go over his threes. I talked about that a lot, really leaned that way the other day. Gave it out on the Popcast show. Donovan Mitchell hit 4 threes in the first half the other day, and then he didn't even play in the fourth quarter. I also think it's worth noting in this game, if you're looking at anything for the Washington side, Jordan Poole. I like Jordan Poole in this spot to go under 20.5 points plus assists. I look at the Cavs. They're allowing the 4th fewest points to the shooting guard position over the last 7 games, so they've really been locked in defensively, at least to the shooting guard position. Poole has been pretty bad recently. And it's the first leg of a back-to-back here. And if this game gets out of hand, he's probably going to spend a lot of the fourth quarter sitting on the bench. Looking at Poole, like last few games, he has gone under in 4 straight games and hasn't played 30 minutes, but 1 time in those last 5 games as well. So it's really simple with Poole. I went back and looked at his last 9 games. He's gone over 20.5 points and assists twice. And those games came against one of them came against the Golden State Warriors, of course, because he was super motivated for that game. And then there was one more in there sprinkled in there somewhere. I can't remember, but it's pretty simple. If he shoots over 50% from the field, he goes over this number. If he shoots under 50% from the field, so 40, 30, 17%, he goes under. And in the last 9 games, he's gone under 7 times. He's only gone over twice. So if you're gonna face somebody in this game, I think Poole is definitely worth a look. Let's see what y'all talking about in the comments, and then we're gonna keep it going. Raven likes OKC. Raven likes OKC minus the 5. Coop says Jared Allen over 36.5 points, rebounds, and assists. And like you said 2 days ago, Allen assists are very sneaky. A very sneaky look, being more involved in the offense. And yeah, that's exactly what it is, Coop. Off ball handoff action. And on top of the key 5 assists is at plus 140 on DraftKings, and 6 is plus 310. Cannot talk you off, Coop. He's gone over that number if you just go through and look at the box scores. And I mentioned this the other day as well when I was talking about Donovan Mitchell threes. The Cleveland Cavaliers are shooting the second most threes since Donovan Mitchell came back, and they don't have Darius Garland. So they're literally just spacing the floor. And I think it was Max Strus hit 5 or 6 the other day. There's Donovan Mitchell hit 4. It was a bunch of guys who hit a bunch of threes. So no way I could talk you off of that look at all, Coop. Let's see. Tasha says she took the Cavs team total over 60 in the first half. No way I could talk you off of that, Tasha. No way. The Wizards might as well be playing defense with a blindfold because they can't see what's going on. Next game up. Let's go Pacers. Let's go Hawks. They will be in Indiana tonight. Let me get to my notes for this one real quick. So Indiana got Bruce Brown back in that last game, and this Pacers team has really looked good. The Hawks are playing a little bit better as well, and you could kind of say that maybe they just kind of caught the Oklahoma City Thunder in a bad travel spot. But give them credit where credit is due, and I think that they did play pretty well. They did play pretty well in that game, even though they did let their lead slip away. So Atlanta 6-12 against the spread on the road. They won and covered 2 straight. One of them was against Washington. Well, they actually didn't cover against Washington. They were laying 7 in that game, and I think they ended up winning by 6. They were laying 6.5. They ended up winning by 6. And OKC, they did win and cover that game on pretty much a money line play. They are, however, just 3-7 against the spread in their last 10 still. Their recent success has been linked to the spot, I think, like is what I talked about, Washington just being trash, OKC being on the second leg of a back-to-back. But also, it's one other key ingredient. I think that key ingredient is Jalen Johnson. And I'll talk about him a little bit more. So the spot for Indiana, not the greatest one. They've actually won 5 straight and covered all 5. I think 3 of them they've actually been dogs. They were dogs back-to-back times against the Milwaukee Bucks on the road. Then at home, they won and covered both of those games. This is the first leg of a back-to-back. Like I said, they do got Boston tomorrow. And this will be the second straight home game for them as well. You see this line kind of come down all day. It actually opened at 4.5. Who crazy enough to be out there putting their money on the Atlanta Hawks? I don't think it's necessarily the worst play in the world. I think Atlanta could keep this game close. The difference between Atlanta and Milwaukee is that Atlanta is actually athletic and a little bit younger. And Milwaukee just wants to shoot a bunch of threes and not guard anybody. So head-to-head, this is the second matchup of the season. Indiana won the first game. It's 3.5-point dogs against the spread. That game was played in Atlanta on November 21st. And that game actually went over. I think it was 300 points scored in that game. And like I mentioned yesterday, this is it was the highest total we had ever seen, 264 points. It did get, kind of brought down to 2. Robert Covington ruled out, just popped up. Anything else? Lonnie Walker and Dennis Smith Jr. available to play. So that might shorten that line a little bit more for OKC if you haven't played OKC yet. But jumping back into this, I don't really have a play on the total. I can't play 262. That's a little too high for me, even though I do expect it to potentially go up and over. Pacers really couldn't guard anybody. They couldn't guard the Bucks, so best of luck trying to guard the Hawks. The Hawks can really score as well, and the Hawks don't play any defense either. So I could see this one going up and over the total. I couldn't get there with the total going up and over, though. Maybe something – I will be watching this game. Maybe something I'll play live. I'll tell you guys what I did play, and then I'll keep it going because we do got to keep moving. I played going back to Jalen Johnson. I gave out his double-double on Wednesday. He got in foul trouble early. He finished with 2 fouls in the first quarter. I think he kind of threw off his rhythm for rebounding, but I'm going right back to the well. Over 26.5 points plus rebounds is how I played him. Minus 110 over on DraftKings. Actually, one of my favorite player props on the board for the day. I didn't play a lot of player props, but I never play a lot of player props. But Jalen Johnson, this number, I just don't think the books are catching on. Another fast-paced opponent here. Unlike the Bucks, who aren't athletic, besides Giannis, Jalen Johnson is very athletic, and I think he can actually kind of keep up with the pace for this Pacers team. When we think about teams going to work against this Pacers team. Where do they typically score at? In the paint. Where is Jalen Johnson going to do? Attack the rim, catch lobs. He can shoot the ball as well, but he scores a lot of points in the paint, and that's typically where you want to attack this Pacers defense. So I like all of that. Jalen Johnson is actually over the 26.5 points plus rebounds in 3 of his last 4 games as well since he returned from the injury. And even though the double-double didn't cash in the last game, he had a season high, career high in points, and he still cashed the points plus rebounds. So this is a line I think will eventually the books will catch up with, kind of similar to Jared Allen. Rebounds and assists going up from 15.5 to 17.5. I think the Jalen Johnson, we're getting a bargain right now. The books will increase this line, especially for it not to even be juice. The Pacers are actually bottom 10 over their last 7 games, allowing points to the power forward position and allowing rebounds to the power forward position. So those are my thoughts on this game. Let me see what y'all got real quick, and we're going to keep it moving. Locked and Loaded says he likes the Pacers. -3.5 is official for him. And a lot of people think the Pacers are going to look ahead to the Celtics. I think the Pacers keep the train going because they know they could possibly lose the next 2 games. That's not bad logic at all, Locked and Loaded. I hope you cash it, my brother. Coop says, I'll be on the island on this one. Hawks first half plus the 1.5 and money line. Might be a letdown spot. Small look ahead for tomorrow, but don't trust the Hawks full game. No way I could talk you off, Coop. The Hawks have been covering in the first half. I think that's a pretty sharp look. Indiana actually was not getting smoked, but they were losing by 3 at the end of the first half in the last game against the Bucks. And then the third quarter came, and that's when they started smoking the Milwaukee Bucks. So I could not talk you off. Tariq says the question is, which game is the Pacers are going to take serious? That's why I couldn't play it, Tariq. I have no idea which game they're going to take serious. Halliburton did come out, have quotes say that they need to play the same way they play against top-tier opponents every single night. But it's a young team. It doesn't mean that they're necessarily going to do that. So we'll see what happens. I'm all for this game. But best of luck to anybody that's playing it. Mr. Nice Guy also on the Hawks first half. Cool. Likes Jalen Johnson points laddered. He says a sneaky look as well. I agree. I definitely agree. Especially with the fast pace and the high total. I'm Breezy says Jalen Johnson 1.5 threes is plus 130 on bet 365. I don't know if I necessarily like the threes. The Pacers give up points in the paint. So don't let me talk you off, but I think it's 130 for a reason. David says Johnson down to 25.5 now. Even better line. So we'll see. David also says Pacers will take both games serious. As an Indy native, both games will be close unless something magical happens. So speaking of that, just real quick, I just want to do something real quick. Because I know we talked about this. I've been talking about this the last couple of days on the show. The Pacers with rest, because they play at such a fast pace that, eventually they need rest too. The Pacers with rest this season are actually really good. When the Pacers don't have rest, they are not as good. So 1-4 straight up, 1-4 against the spread. Tomorrow says fade the Pacers. The offense only scoring 118 points per game. And all of these games came from November 4th through December the 21st. So just something and they're losing by an average of 6 points. So if this game is close today and they go all out, you definitely want to take the Celtics tomorrow. Just kind of giving you guys a look for tomorrow, something that I was already kind of looking at. All right, let's keep going. We still got a lot more games to get through. So Jazz and the Celtics. I talked about this game already, right? Yeah, because I talked about marketing. I also talked about the Knicks and the 76ers, the Thunder and the Nets. Next game we got, and this I don't really have a strong opinion on this game at all, but I'll let you guys know what I'm thinking. So 2 teams that I'm definitely not looking to fade, and those teams are the Clippers and the Pelicans. This line opened, I want to say, really, really close to a pick. And I kind of feel like it's a pick, man. I really, really do. It's still a pick right now. The total went up from 228.5 up to 230.5. I don't necessarily agree with that. I think that these are 2 of the better defensive teams in the league. If you just go through and look at the last 5 games, advanced stats, I'm pretty sure both of these teams are top 5. The Pelicans are the number 1 defensive team in the league, and the Los Angeles Clippers are the Clippers are the 21st defensive rated team. Pelicans are balling, man, and they're playing at a snail's pace, 96.8. So not only are they the best defensive team in the league, they're also the slowest pace team in the league. The Clippers also bottom 4 slowest pace team in the league over the last 5 games. So I think the total going up is absolutely wrong. I think I might have mentioned this yesterday on the show. But I don't have a strong play on the side, man. Both of these teams are absolute balling. Not two teams I want to try to figure out which one to fade. We just made money with the Clippers. We took them on the money line against Phoenix. We took them on the -2. That game was never really close until the Suns made a little late run at the end of the third to start the fourth. But that game was, never really close. And this Pelicans team, man, they've literally been covering. If they're not playing against Ja Morant, they win it every single game. And I talked about this. Zion came out and said, the what happened in Las Vegas when we lost to the Lakers may have been a blessing in disguise because they've really been locked in. They went to Minnesota, and Minnesota hadn't lost 2 games back-to-back all season. They went to Minnesota, gave Minnesota their second loss in a row. In Minnesota, as 6-point dogs, won that game outright by 11 points. So not a team that I'm looking to fade. You go through and look at their defense. They gave up 106 to Minnesota, gave up 85 to Brooklyn, only gave up 109 to the Lakers when the Lakers were in that tough back-to-back spot last week. The Utah Jazz held them to 105 points. So I'm not looking to fade them. I'm definitely not looking to fade the Clippers. This team is at full strength. They won 4 straight games, covered 3 in a row, and they got Kawhi back. So I don't have a strong look at all. I will say that, with Trey Murphy being listed as questionable, they do need him. He's a big floor spacer, somebody that can knock down the 3, somebody that can get extremely hot. If people remember, we did fade the Clippers against the Pelicans earlier this season. When was that? That was November the 24th. I want to say we took the trifecta spot, and the Pelicans came out there, smoked the Clippers. The Clippers were catching, Pelicans were catching 5.5. They covered the first quarter, first half, full game. Game was never close, even though they ended up winning that game by 10. And for whatever reason, the Pelicans just played this team really, really well. They've covered and won 5 straight games in a row, covered 6 in a row. So I'm just sharing notes with you guys. Not anything that I absolutely love in this game at all. Definitely a game I'm going to be locked in on. And top play would be the under 230.5 in this game. Let's see what we got in the chat. Let's see. Cal says, is Johnson points, rebounds your only play so far? No. Embiid. I played Embiid over his 50.5 points, rebounds, and assists. I think the line was it was juice. It was -120. The best number was on DraftKings is what I played. So those are the 2 plays so far out of the games. Those are the 2 plays that I played so far. Let's see. Jabari says, I will be waiting to bet on the Clippers after halftime. So this is something that should probably be mentioned, Jabari. The Pelicans, we know, are really, really good in the first half. This team is like, I don't know what it is, but they are going to give you their best effort in the first half. So, they've been just continuing to cover. I talked about it in the game against Brooklyn 2 games ago, really leaning strongly that way. And it was never even close. I think they were winning by 20 at halftime. They've covered, I want to say, the last, 5, 6, 7, 8 first halves in a row. But this tells me the Clippers, may come out here just because they have been losing so many games. And I'm pretty sure they might have this one circled just because of how bad they've been playing against this team. And like I said, both teams defensively, it's not something I feel like it's gambling. So I'm not on it. Jimmy says, Chris, can you share what app or site you have on your screen right now to help you find NBA information? All good if it's confidential information. No, for sure, man. I always give out the juice. So honestly, it's about 18 windows open on one of these screens, and it's about 18 windows open on the other one as well. But the main things I'm looking at is RotoWire for injury report information, Give Me the Dog for SDQL, Killer Sports for SDQL, and then all of the other stuff is just notes that I go through and I'm looking at. I got NBA.com. I got a tab for team advanced stats. I got a tab for player traditional stats. I got Fantasy Pros up for defensive versus position. I got ESPN up for player stats as well. And then I got the Wager Talk live screen up. And of course, always got OddsJam pulled up as well. So it just depends on where I'm looking. So go back and rewind that, Jimmy. But yeah, that's all the juice right there for you, my guy. How you feel about Zion over 22.5? He typically has the matchup advantage, John. They couldn't guard him. I remember in LA, they could not guard him. So I could see Zion having another big game here as well. Tariq says, I'm taking the Pelicans at home, half a unit here. Could not talk you off. What up to my guy, Munaf? He reminds everybody to smash the like button for me. Appreciate that as well, Munaf, my guy. Vaughn says he plays Zion points He said he averages 25 a game versus the Clippers in his career. Don't like the matchup for the Clippers versus him. I agree. This is the one matchup advantage that they typically have for whatever reason. I don't know if Zion didn't get overlooked. For some reason, he does not like the Clippers, though. I don't know what they did to him. But yeah, I couldn't talk you off. Avery likes the Pelicans here. He said a flat spot for the Clippers coming off the masterclass playoff revenge spot against the Suns. That's an interesting spot, Avery. I do agree with that. But I'm not on the game. Best of luck to you, my brother. Vaughn also likes Harden rebounds and assists, while the Clippers have some good individual defenders. Not playing the best team defense right now. And Harden hit the 13.5 and 8 of his last 10. Okay. Good support there. Could not talk you off, Vaughn. Best of luck to you as well on that look, my brother. All right, let's keep going. Jared Allen triple-double plus 2,700. The beast on Demon Time. Plus 2,700 for Jared Allen triple-double. What else? Corey, I could not talk you off this look, Corey. Corey Cook in the chat says first half under 113.5 is my look. No way I could talk you off with how good these defenses have been. I could definitely see that cashing. Could definitely see that. Actually, I'm gonna write that down, Corey. I'm gonna look a little more into that. LAC, first half under 113.5. I don't really play totals in the first half. But I love that one, Corey. I wrote that down. May get there with you on that. I'm gonna look a little more into it. Scotty says, does Jared Allen pass the ball? Absolutely. You got to watch them games without Darius Garland on the floor. Yeah, I mean, you're not getting 7 assists without passing the ball, Scotty. You got to check him out, man. What up to my guy Sai in the chat? Mr. Nice Guy says Clippers might have this game circled out from losing too much to them. That's what I'm thinking as well. That's why I kind of stayed off the game. Dominique says, I know you talked about Jazz Celtics already, but what do you think about Sexton over 15.5 points? Dominic, this is actually something that my guy Munoz was on when we did the propcast earlier. And I talked about it. Guards are typically having much more success. The only thing you kind of worry about is the first leg of the back-to-back, them potentially getting blown out, or Keontae George coming in and kind of stealing some of his minutes because they do have full rotation. But I couldn't talk you off. Sexton has been balling. He's in the starting lineup. Coach Hardy loves him. He's playing really, really hard. No way I could talk you off, man. Best of luck there. Yeah, Coop, I'm with you there. All right, let's keep going. We still got tons of games to get to. Hornets and Bulls. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I don't have. This is a game that I'll spend 30 seconds on. Not the greatest spot for Charlotte. I'll just tell you guys that the end of a 6-game road trip, they did win outright, 111-104, as 15.5-point dogs against the Sacramento Kings 2 days ago. So they are off 2 days rest. This is the first one of those like mini series where they play the Bulls today, then they play them again, I think, on Tuesday. No, they play them again on Monday. I'm sorry. And then for Chicago, you can't like the spot for them specifically because they get the guys back. So the rotation is going to be thrown off just a tad bit. Zach LaVine said that he'll play in this game. He'll be back on a minutes restriction. Same thing with Vucevic. Vucevic is also returning. Charlotte, I keep saying this, right? Charlotte's one of those teams you're like, oh, they don't got LaMelo. Like, let's just fade them. It don't really work like that with them. You can fade them every now and then, but you can't fade them every game. On this 6-game road trip, they have actually been double-digit dogs in every single game. They covered against the Clippers. They got smoked to the Lakers. They covered against the Suns. They got smoked to Denver, but they covered in the first quarter and first half to Denver, and then they went outright. So I'm thinking, in my mind, the Bulls, especially with them having everybody back in the lineup tonight, the Bulls aren't better than any of those teams, in my estimation. Maybe Phoenix without Kevin Durant. This Laker team is playing pretty bad right now, but I don't think they're better than the Lakers either. So I kind of lead towards Charlotte being able to, have the points to take the points in this game. Brandon Miller is going to play in this spot. They still be without Gordon Hayward, Mitchell, Mark Williams. They get ruled out as well. But it's not the greatest spot for Chicago, even though Chicago does typically smash Charlotte. They do typically win and cover spreads. They've won 3 straight and covered all 3 spreads, but not a game that I'm on. Like I said, just kind of wanted to give you guys the information. Not something I'm looking to bet at all. Let's see what y'all on here. Let's see. Malik says, I'm not touching this game. This is a Chicago Bulls native. I could not talk you off. I'm not messing with it either, Malik, but I do lean Charlotte. Mr. Nice Guy says Hornet spread. Zach LaVine and Vucevic back, and that was my thought process. David says, find Brandon Booker points. Close your eyes, place the bet. I like that, David. I like that a lot. Brandon Miller. Brandon Miller points. Yeah, Brandon Miller could be in for a big game today. Him. We know that Terry Rozier has been absolutely hooping. The Bulls can sometimes struggle to rebound the basketball. So looking at Bridges rebounds, I think could potentially be in play, but not anything for me. Raptors fans said I still like Drummond over 11.5 rebounds, even with Vooch coming off the bench. Against Charlotte, I couldn't talk you off. They don't really have a lot of great rebounders. They got maybe one. They don't have a lot of rebounders. Coop says he's leaning Miles Bridges rebounds. The Bulls still give up rebounds power forward. This is exactly what I just said, David. Coop, I agree with you there. Steven also likes Drummond rebounds. He says still expecting 20-plus minutes from Drummond. Averages 0.55 rebounds per minute. 20 minutes at 0.55 per minute equals 11. Big mismatch. Charlotte is small and allows second most rebounds to the center. Yeah, that could not talk you off. Steven also goes on to say he's over in 17 of the last 25 with 20 minutes. Really like it if he starts. Tasha says it's a stay away. 2 Millie like Scary Terry. He says Terry Rozier points. Vaughn says he wants to get there with Levine points, rebounds, and assists under, possibly a live spot at halftime, knowing he probably won't play much in the second half. I was thinking about fading Levine today as well, Vaughn. I do think it's a spot to fade him for sure. Charlotte plays really, really slow pace. Their defense has actually picked up, so this could be a sneaky look as well, Vaughn. All right, let's keep going. David is right. He says, let's move on. And it's already 6 o'clock, and we still got, 5 games left. So this is the game I am interested in, one that I actually played twice, actually. And this game is the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Houston Rockets. So this one, to me, is more of a field play. I talked about not catching the falling knife with by backing the Brooklyn Nets here. I'm going to just be real quick with this one. Timberwolves have not looked good recently. Last 5 games, defensive rating has dropped from 108.7, which is what got them the best record in the Western Conference, and they still got the best record in the Western Conference. But now they're only 1 game above Oklahoma City Thunder. The defensive rating dropped from 108 to 116.4 off back-to-back losses for the first time this season. Like I said, they're losing that game against New Orleans. I think I think that it's going to wake them up tonight. I think they respond here. They failed to cover 5 games in a row as this Minnesota team. We were on them in Madison Square Garden, thinking that they would, ball out, especially with Cat, Naz Reid being close to New Jersey. Early start time, standalone game. They laid flat as a pancake in pretty much both of those spots. But I like what I was reading from Chris Finch, the coach of the Timberwolves. He said, we've got to get our desperation back. That's first of all. We've got to play better. We haven't played with a lot of pop and purpose since we went to Sacramento. We kind of maybe in second gear since then. This performance has been coming for a while in the sense that we haven't been very sharp. There's going to be lots of waves of adversity. We've got to fix it. We've got to get our physicality back. We got to get our defense back. We've got to get our identity back, which is being more physical and being bigger. I also heard Rudy Gobert post-game. I'm sorry, not Rudy Gobert. Karl Anthony Towns post-game give a very, very mature response to losing back-to-back games and just talked about having fun, doing the little things and making the right plays. So I think that when I look at this from a matchup perspective, Tari Eason is already ruled out for this game. I think that's a big blow. They're already going to be without Dylan Brooks, who I think will be needed to slow down somebody like Anthony Edwards, who's been absolutely going bananas. So I actually like the Timberwolves. It's typically a spot that, typically bites me in the butt when I, take these trifecta spots. But I think Timberwolves early and often is the right play in this game. I like Timberwolves first quarter, first half, full game. I gave out first half, played full game. Took them at -1.5 on FanDuel for the first half. Took them at -3.5 on Bet Rivers for the full game. I think they get the job done. I don't think that Houston has enough offense in this spot. You go back and just kind of look at the games that Houston has played in recently, which is what I did, because they have been at home, and this is the 6th straight home game for the Houston Rockets. But the Brooklyn, a really poor defensive team recently. Detroit, another really poor defensive team. They didn't play well against Philly, and they lost that game. And Philly didn't even play good defense. They didn't play well against Phoenix, another good offensive team. So I think, just on paper, if Karl-Anthony Towns can stop doing goofy stuff and Rudy Gobert can slow down what's the kid name? Sengun. Fred VanVleet gonna have his hands full because I do think that the Timberwolves gonna get. I think that the Houston Rockets gonna get the Timberwolves' attention today. So I get, like I said, I gave out Minnesota first half and full game minus the 1.5 in the first half, minus the 3.5 for the full game. I did play both of those in this game, and I'm not gonna stay on the game too long because, like I said, we got a lot more games, but I do like those a lot. Let's see. Look at Cat under points, rebounds, and assists under 33.5. Let's go. What is that? Let's go. Dakar. Oh my God, Dakar. That's Dakar. Oh, what up, Dakar? My God, appreciate you for tapping in. He likes Cat under his points, rebounds, and assists. What he says, thoughts on the total at 217. I like the over. I think if you're gonna play the over, you play. I can see Houston really struggling to score in this spot. Maybe full game goes under, but I think Timberwolves could score. The problem with that is that Houston plays at snail's pace. That's why their games continue to go under. Houston went under against Brooklyn, gave up 101 points, and only scored 112. So while I think their offense can struggle to score, I do think that Minnesota's a team that when they're clicking on all cylinders, they typically do score the ball well. You go back to their wins, they can score the ball because typically it's off turnovers. They're getting out, running in transition, getting easy buckets, turning the other team over. So I'm not really strong on the total in this spot. It seems like when we get these super low totals, they typically go over about a point or two. So no real play on the total for me. Locked and Loaded says he's howling with the Wolves tonight. Minus 3.5 is official. If they lose this game, then I know something. Ant-Man cut from the old law. They got to get back on track tonight. Head of the snake got to be venomous. I agree with this as well, David. Both teams are top 10 in slow pace. So both teams bottom 10 in pace. Houston plays power forwards very well. Under 33.5 points, rebounds, and assists for Cat. Keep going, Chris. You've been killing it with the shows and information given out. See you at the pay window. Hey, best of luck, Dakar. Best of luck, my brother. LJ says, Cash and Fridays, Chris. Doing media right now at the Rockets pregame. No Tari Eason, no play on the Rockets tonight. Eason brings a lot of energy to the team. I agree with that as well. I definitely agree with that. One more comment real quick. Two more. I want to get to Jimmy as well. Steven says, Sengun assists. Wish it wasn't as popular, but he's more passive at home, averages 4 less field goal attempts on the road versus on the road. C's have done well versus Gobert. Dwight Powell 6, Sabonis 10, Bam 6, and Yoval 4. Okay. And then Jimmy also says, I'm with you on the T-Wolves struggling against the suspect Nets team until the 4th and then ran out of gas. Let's get it. Appreciate the NBA information tools. Best of luck. Absolutely. Appreciate you for tapping in as well, Ty. Hit the like button for me if you guys can. I'm going to take a small sip of water. And let's get back into it. So where are we? We're Blazers Mavs. This will be 10 seconds. Can't play the game. No idea who's going to play. If you didn't know, Luka is now listed as questionable. These teams did just play. Luka listed as questionable. Dante Exum ruled out. Lively also listed as questionable. Not sure if he's going to play in this game. Grant Williams also listed as questionable. And I'm not going near Portland until they get, some of their guys back. So Aiden is still listed as out. I think Shaedon Sharpe should play in this game. It could be a spot, but I think you got to find out the information first. I definitely think you got to find out the information. Portland just got smoked. They lost that game by 29 points. They don't play again until they go to Brooklyn. This is the third game of a 7-game road trip. So typically a spot where Portland is going to be big dogs. They could potentially cover some of these numbers. You see the total come down. You see the spread come down as well. Timberwolves, the Dallas Mavericks got the Timberwolves on deck. They actually play on Sunday, and they'll be at home. Third straight home game. I want to say Dallas got 5 straight home games in a row. So I could see Luka potentially sitting this one. They don't need him to beat Portland. So those are my thoughts. Not taking too much in this game at all. KD got ruled out, Bryce. Oh wow. KD ruled out. Interesting. I kind of felt like KD was going to get ruled out because every time it felt like they get a chance to play together, it don't happen for him. Woo-wee, them boys gonna be in trouble. All right, let's keep going, man. Like I said, I'm not staying that game. Appreciate you letting me know that he got ruled out though. We got 5 more games. Next game up is Magic versus Nuggets. Man, I really wanted to find a way to fade these teams that went to overtime the other night. It was 4 teams that went to overtime. It was 2 teams that went to double overtime, and I wanted to try to fade all of them. Really, really hard to do here though with the Magic and the Nuggets, because the Nuggets had to come back from 17 down last night with 5 minutes to beat Golden State on a 40-foot backboard buzzer beater by Jokic to win that game. So second leg of a back-to-back for them. Typically, you don't want to lay 10 points. The spread is 9.5. You don't want to lay 10 points with a team on the second leg of a back-to-back. Also, they had to travel. So I don't really like the spot for them. Denver also just haven't really been covering spreads at the crib. They're 9-8, against the spread at home. But Orlando, this team was in a crazy fight the other day. I actually stayed up. I talked about this yesterday. I stayed up and watched that game against Sacramento. And it really was just, I wouldn't say it was really just Paolo, but Paolo put the team on his back. He had 40 points in that game, played a ton of minutes. He also probably not 100%. Anybody watched that game, he did come up a little gimpy in that spot. But they had guys that kind of stepped up. Jalen Suggs played 24 minutes. And then Okeke came off the bench and hit like 3 or 4 threes in a row in that game. This Houston guy I had never heard of had 15 points. So, I mean, this isn't a team that's necessarily going to back down. You still got Wendell Carter Jr., I think, still listed as questionable in this game. But with no Franz, who I think I'm not sure if he's the best player or Paolo the best player. I don't even want to debate it. Who cares? I'm trying to make money. But with no Franz, it's really, really hard to take. Really, really hard to take Orlando. Not the greatest spot for Orlando, especially, like I said, off the double overtime game the other day. It is a young team, and while they have been pretty good this season, they are regressing. Just 7-11 against the spread on the road, and this is their 4th and final road game before they go back home and host Atlanta on Sunday. So they probably got a bad taste in their mouth. Probably felt like they should have won that game versus Sacramento. But at some point, like I always talk about it, sometimes it's worth fading the teams that don't have their star, right? Sometimes it can be helpful, but if you know deep down in your heart that player being missing is going to, not be conducive to that team being able to put up that much success, I think it's worth fading that team. It was one of the reasons why I wanted to fade Devin Booker and the Phoenix Suns the other day. As soon as I saw Kevin Durant got ruled out, I was like, yeah, I like the Clippers. But like I said, not an advantageous matchup for either team in this spot. So I didn't play this game at all. I do kind of lean towards the under. I think with no Franz Wagner being there, I know that the total is low at 222.5, actually coming down. Opened at 224, is down to 222, 221.5 as well. I know with the total coming down, I can see Denver kind of struggling to score. Orlando still playing, some pretty good defense in this game. And Orlando really should struggle to score, especially without Franz in this spot. So those are my key thoughts in this game. Top play would be the under, but I didn't touch this one. Won't be touching this one either. Probably won't even be watching it either here. Let's see. Scotty says, Aaron Gordon is my play of the day, has averaged 21 and 8 in 6 games versus Orlando since they traded him. He's laddering him to 15 and 5, 18 and 8, and 20 and 10. He had a big game last night as well. We'll be interesting to see if he's able to play that well in back-to-back games. KD is nursing that hammy. I don't see the medical team wanting him to play. I agree, Coop. They're trying to me, it kind of feels like the way the season is playing out for the Suns, they really just want a playoff spot. I don't think they care if they finish last and have to play, the number 1 seed. They really just want to get in, because between the 3 of them, their big 3 all staying healthy, it's been hell for them. It's really, really been hell. Corey says she likes Denver full game minus the 9.5. Could see the Magic competitive early, but lack of depth due to injuries, along with playing in altitude on the 3rd game in 4 nights. Nuggets on back-to-back after 2 days of rest after the blowout win. Okay, best of luck to you there, my brother. What else we got? Mr. Nice Guy reminding us that Bruce Brown is available to play tonight. Estai says Heat play is looking amazing right now. Yeah, if you wanted the Heat, you definitely should have got on them all. If you want the Suns, you can definitely wait, because you'll get a much better number now as that number comes down to 3. I see 2.5 as well. Let's see. Jamal Murray under 21.5. Bad matchup versus Suggs and Black, who are great defenders. Same high usage guards versus Orlando. 15 points from Fox. Fox really, really bad. He could not make a shot. Devin Booker 21. Brunson 20, Maxey 23, Lillard 24, and Donovan Mitchell 22. This is really good stuff, Steven. Appreciate you sharing this, my guy. Locked and loaded on the other side. He likes the Magic plus 9.5. He says it's just a lean, but he's not investing in it. And J Prop says he loves Orlando plus 9.5. Denver on the back-to-back, barely beat the Warriors. Yeah, I'm not. I couldn't really get there. I did a lot of deep diving, but I couldn't get there with anything. Let's keep going. So next game up, we just kind of talked about it. Big thing to kind of handicap was the Heat. In the Heat versus the Suns was Kevin Durant. So you guys see 3.5 on the screen, of course, but this line's actually down to 2.5. Some threes out there as well. Miami's look good, man. This total 229.5. I think that's probably the better play. If you can go catch this total at 228 right now, I think that's the play. You really just don't want to trust the Suns without Kevin Durant to be able to score the ball as efficiently. The Heat, I keep saying this, really, really good defensive team. The best defensive team on the road this season. And it's evident by what we saw in the last game against the Lakers. The Lakers going through all kind of turmoil right now. We'll talk about them in a second. But in that game versus the Lakers, it was so bad for my Los Angeles Lakers that Bron he declined to even talk to the media afterwards. The Lakers scored 96 points in a home game after coming off back-to-back losses. So that lets you know, when Miami wants to turn up, they really, really can on the defensive end. They also been struggling to score the ball. They only scored 110 points against the Lakers, only scored 104 points against the Clippers. So I think the under in this game is probably the best look. Like I said, the total is dropping, but I think you just play under 227.5 in this game. Maybe a Heat team total under. It's not the greatest spot for the Heat because this is the 5th game of the road trip. But I'm not. If I see the Heat if I see a team laying points against Eric Spoelstra, the defensive mastermind that this dude is, and the way that they do stuff in Miami, I'm never looking to bet against the Heat when they're dogs. And for that reason, another thing I kind of looked at was the Heat as road dogs, specifically early in the game. And this keeps jumping out at me because this is what they do. The Heat cover specifically early in games. I didn't get to the window with it, but first quarter, the Heat are one of the best road dog teams in the league. They're 7-3-1 against the spread. That's overall. They're losing those games by average of just 1 point. And in 11 games as road dogs, they actually won 5 outright. So 5 and 6 straight up. That's you made a lot of money if you just back them on the money line every single time that they're a road dog. First quarter specifically, they actually win in the first quarter when they're a road dog by average of 4 points. And they just did it to the Lakers. So I know I saw some quotes from Devin Booker saying that they need to start the game a little bit better. But when it comes to personnel, I know the Heat are still banged up. But does it really matter? Like this team just plays hard every single game. And you're going to get that, top, hot, quality effort from this team. So I kind of lean Heat early. And I honestly, I lean them late as well. But I think the best play without KD would probably just be a look towards the under. So those are my thoughts on this game. Like I said, not gonna share all my notes because I got to get up off here sooner or later. I can't keep talking for too long. But let's see what you guys are on. We got some love for Peyton Watson over on his points, rebounds, and assists. He says been balling and crashing the glass hard. I see he did have a good game last night. I fell asleep at halftime, but I did see he had a good game last night. Mr. Nice Guy says he likes the Suns today. He put too much energy in the Laker game. I think Bill and Booker handle business. We'll see how it goes. I don't have a play on the game, but we'll see. Locked and Loaded says, I think the Heat get it done. KD isn't expected to play. This looks like the spot where they went Golden State and was 3.5-point dogs. I think the same thing happens here. Heat money line for him. Jay's prop says Bill under 31.5 points, rebounds, and assists. He likes it. No real look for me. I didn't cap it hard enough. I think prop-wise, you have to look at Bam. I think he presents a really difficult matchup for Nurkic in this spot. They've been running the offense through him as well, so couldn't talk anybody off of that look. David says Miami went out clubbing before the Lakers. They went to bed early before the Clippers. Hero and Bam should kill his Suns in 3 quarters. LJ with the numbers for the Heat first quarter. He says +1 is official for him. 14-4-1 against the spread on the road in the first quarter. 8-2 last 10 for the Heat. Best first quarter team on the road. I would definitely agree. Kind of bodes well with, like I said, they're +4 in the first quarter when they're a road dog specifically. So no way I could talk you off. Let's see. S. Dot says Miami Heat first half. Best bet in the league, and he likes the full game. And he likes Tyler Hero to go over 22.5 points, Bam over his 21.5, and Triple J over his points as well. Hami Jaquez Jr., not Jared Jackson Jr. Vaughn likes Nurk under 3.5 assists, potential assists down over the last 4 games with 2 of the big 3, and he won't be asked as much to be a threat on offense. Okay. Hude says, where's the link to your membership? It's posted in the description of the YouTube chat. Also, if you go to my Twitter page and click the link tree in my bio, you can find it there as well. $5.99 to get you access to all the plays or for anybody that just wants support. LA Mackin likes Phoenix first quarter. So we got some conflicting trends there. We got 3 more games. Let's get through them real quick. Raptors and Kings, another game that I really, really like, and I do have an official play here. So Toronto, they've actually won both games, and this line is 4.5. I caught a 5 earlier. When I played it, it was at 5. The total is coming down from 238 down to 237.5. It's still some 238, so the mixed market on the total. Toronto, they've actually won both games since the trade. I talked about this earlier. Since they got Quickly and RJ Barrett, they beat Cleveland at home, and they beat Memphis and Memphis. They play again on Sunday in Golden State, which makes this their second road game of a 5-game road trip. I think I will be looking to fade them as the road trip goes on, but right now it seems like this team is really starting to catch fire. They're playing with a little bit more pace, really scoring the ball. Not so much against Memphis, but Memphis offense is so bad that they've actually had to slow the games down just a tad bit. Looking at Sacramento, this team is coming off the double overtime thriller against Orlando. They've really been a Jekyll and Hyde. Like when I wanted to fade, I faded them on New Year's Eve against Memphis, and they smoked them. They come back home and lose outright as a 15.5 point favorite against Charlotte. Then, but before that, remember they went to Atlanta as well. They won that game outright, and they were 1-point dogs, 1-point favorites in that spot. Then the last game, of course, against Orlando team that was on the second leg of a back-to-back after the Golden State game, they really, really struggled. So 3rd straight home game of a 4-game homestand for them. They do host New Orleans on Saturday, a conference game in which they actually lost by 20 in that game as well. So don't like the spot for Sacramento here. They're also off the double overtime game. Head-to-head, Toronto plays this team really, really well. They've covered 3 of the last 4, and they've won 2 of the last 2 games in Sacramento as well. No, it's different teams, but that Sacramento team is pretty much still the same. So to me, that tells me that teams that are built like Sacramento kind of give them trouble. Siakam, of course, named all in trade rumors, so I expect him to continue to come out here and just really, really ball. So one key thing I looked at, but I'll give you guys another one. Couple systems. So I looked at home favorites on 1 day's rest coming off a game that had at least double overtime. They're 29-13 straight up, but they're just 17-24-1 against the spread. So that's a 59%, almost 60% fade of the Sacramento Kings tonight. Those games are actually 24-15-3 to the over. So 61.5%. That's super profitable to the over on those games as well. When you just fade a team that is in a really depleted spot, just based on how many minutes they played. De'Aaron Fox, Malik Monk, Keegan Murray, Sabonis, those guys all played 40-plus minutes in that last game in that double overtime game. So I took the Raptors. One more thing I looked at. I looked at teams off double overtime on a 3rd game in 4 nights because I think that was pretty interesting. But specifically, I wanted to see how favorites did in that spot because I could care less about dogs. I wanted to see if favorites were covering off a double overtime game and being on the 3rd game in 4 nights. Since 2018, those teams are 13-23-2 against the spread. So 63.4% faded the Sacramento Kings here as well. Could they get the job done? They could. Like I said, this team is super Jekyll and Hyde, but I did play the Raptors +5. I like the 4.5 as well. I think they could potentially win this game outright. I also played the Raptors team total. I'm not even sure what the number is. I think it was 116.5 is what I gave out. I don't think it's moved any. And I really, really like that spot. I think the Kings, who aren't really a great defensive team. I know they've had some glimpses of playing pretty good defense, but I don't think this team is a really good defensive team. And I do think that even if they do want to play defense, you're probably going to get a few more tired legs in this spot We cashed on a spot like this with the Raptors a couple weeks ago when they were playing Boston on the second leg of that back-to-back after they had played against the Detroit Pistons and had allowed in the second half in that game. So I like the Raptors here. I think, getting RJ Barrett, getting quickly pushes the pace just a tad bit more. Now you got Schroeder coming off the bench who can facilitate and kind of run that second unit. So give me the Raptors +5 here. Like I said, I like the 4.5, and I played their team total over one, whatever it is. It was 113, 116. I think it was 116, 121. Yeah, 116.5, I think is what the number was. So yeah, those are my top spots in this game. Real quick in the comments, let's see. Going back to the last game, Estai says Phoenix is 0-7 as a road favorite, against the Eastern Conference. I think you mean home favorites, Estai, because they're not on the road. Coop says Raptors +5, and he likes the money line. This is a matchup for the Kings coming off the two overtimes. I agree. Raptors fan says love my team, but Sabonis is going to own them on the glass and in the paint. He likes his points and rebounds over 34.5. Cannot talk you off. Yeah, I also, so just looking at player props in this game, Raptors fan, I don't think that it's a bad look looking at Sabonis. I also think that Siakam could have a really big game in this spot as well. I saw Paolo absolutely go to work in that game. And to me, with Siakam name and trade rumors, them being the more rested team, and they don't really have a matchup, in my estimation, for anybody that can slow down Siakam. Siakam, to me, is very similar. He gets to the same spots on the floor as Paolo. Paolo a lot stronger, of course, but I think plays with much more power. But I do think Siakam is in a very advantageous matchup. I didn't play his player props because I already had 2 plays for the game, but I do like Siakam. Probably his points specifically in this one is the way I would play this. And let's get to the last 2 games on the board. We got Pistons and we got Warriors. Another game I'm not extremely, really interested in. The Warriors are coming off that I'm glad they did lose last night. I'm not a fan of this Warriors team at all. And shout out to Draymond. Now he just gets to sit and watch his team, just fluctuate, win, loss, not be able to put anything together. And they're 16-17 on the season, just 10-9 at home, 7-11-1 against the spread at home. Second leg of a back-to-back, don't necessarily want to lay 10.5 points. They could absolutely smoke Detroit tonight. I think that's a possibility. But Detroit's actually been hooping, man. This team is just 1-17 on the road, but they are 8-10 against the spread on the road, which is a little bit better than their home spread record is. And since they won that game against Toronto, they've actually covered 2 of their last 3 spreads. They did get smoked against the Rockets. I'm not sure when you're going to get the effort from this team, which is why one of the reasons why I couldn't play this game. They could literally, score. They could literally give up, and keep the game close. But like I talked about this in the Jazz game, I think when you're looking at this team, no matter how good they are offensively, and I'm talking about the Pistons, because they did score 148 points against the Utah Jazz. They scored 129 in that game against Toronto. But regardless, and remember this, they also coming off an overtime game, even though Golden State is at a rest disadvantage because they played last night. Golden State didn't have to travel. I think over, right? Looking at the last 6 games, the Detroit Pistons have gone over 6 games in a row, 8-2 to the over in their team total. They just gave up 154, and I'm not sure what Utah scored in regulation, but I think it was over their team total there. They gave up 136 to Houston, 127 against Toronto. So even though I don't like Golden State, I do think with them being at home, I know they are much, this is the game to me where Kuminga could absolutely go crazy, where Pozinski could absolutely go crazy. I think all of those role players could play really, really well. Detroit actually playing with pace recently as well. For Golden State, like I said, not having to travel, 5th straight game at the crib. And they got Toronto coming up as well, but they don't play until Saturday. I think this game goes up and over the total. Don't like Golden State to be able to slow anybody down. They've actually went over all 3 of their last games as well. So 239 is a pretty high total, but that's the only way I would look in this game is I would be looking at the over. Either Golden State team total to go over, or you just play the whole thing to go over. Golden State, Detroit over 239.5. I don't think that the Warriors are going to be super locked in on defense in this game. Detroit, I don't even think they know what it means to be super locked in on defense. So those are my thoughts in this one. Let's see what y'all talking about in the chat. Let's see. Anybody on Pistons money line, or is it just me? You might be by yourself there, Jay. Shout out to Dr. Kush for joining and becoming a member. Much love. Appreciate that. Hopefully we can make a lot of cash together. Too much dopamine likes Pistons on the money line. Tasha says, hell no, Detroit. Steven says K under 8.5 assists, gets a pissed Golden State team who was bottom 10 in assists to point guards. Line seems inflated because he had 13, 10, 12 in his last three, but all teams were top 9 in assists to point guards. Only 5 in 40 minutes versus Golden State this year earlier when they played in Detroit. Okay, I couldn't talk you off that stuff. I did talk about Cade to go over his rebounds and assist line. I think that number, I think it's at 12.5. Just people, I don't think people are paying attention to Cade on the rebounds. Cade has actually been going down there rebounding the basketball. And I think also if you get Killian Hayes' numbers, you could just take the under every single time. He's absolutely terrible. Also, you know how to score against the Golden State Warriors? You just go downhill. So looking at Jaden Ivey, somebody who loves to get downhill, baby Westbrook, I think Jaden Ivey props are live today as well. Probably be looking at Jaden Ivey to go over his points, especially in a matchup where I expect the game to go over. Coop says it's interesting to see how Kerr handles Kuminga about the comment he made about him. Yeah, that's gonna be. I am interested to see how Kuminga really hasn't. I know he went over his points, rebounds, and assists. And shout out to Ben because he dropped that in here yesterday. But Kuminga he still hasn't really panned out the way he should have. LJ says over is play. Detroit 13-5 to the over on the road. Golden State 12-5 to the over off a loss. I like it. Shout out to my guy David. He said community challenge completed. We got 2 new members. Shout out to David, man. Always holding it down. Steve says they got to get Killian Hayes out the league. I agree. David says Chris is struggling. Pistons is suggesting Pistons props. Time to log off, man. we are Durant only. Yeah, Durant should dominate today. Double for Durant. That's probably juice. It's over his rebounds. They really, really struggle against big men. I thought about that yesterday. Didn't write it down. Durant should absolutely eat in this game, but I couldn't talk anybody off Ivy, man. Alex Burke's been cashing. Not sure if he's going to play as well, but Jaden Ivey, some of those younger guys, I could definitely see them playing well in this spot. But I didn't play anything in this game. Over would be the top look, though. Let's get on to the last game. We got one more game. We'll be on here for an hour and 22 minutes. My Lakers at the crib hosting the Lakers, who have been struggling, hosting the also struggling Memphis Grizzlies. This line opened at, I want to say it was at 5 last night or yesterday when it came out. It actually came down to, what is it at now? 4.5? 4. So money coming in on Memphis in this spot. Memphis has been terrible, but for some reason they have been playing better on the road than they have at home. The Lakers have really, really regressed. And I think I talked about this the other day in the Memphis game. Until they get their rotations right, it's really, really hard for me to back this team. The Lakers are actually 6-9 against the spread at home, even though they are 12-5 straight up. So what that tells you is that if you've been playing the Lakers on the money line at home, you've been profitable. But if you've been taking the Lakers to cover the spread, you've been losing money because they haven't been covering these numbers. Just 2-8 straight up in their last 10 games, 4-6 against the spread. Memphis not looking too much better, even with Ja Morant. They've come back down to earth. They've only covered 4 of their last 10 games, and they haven't covered a game either. So really, really difficult game here. 5 straight non-covers for Memphis. They did lose to Toronto. They are going under because, like I said in the last show, their offense has really, really struggled. They've gone under in 4 straight games. Offense only averaging, I want to say last 5 games, they have the worst offensive rating. Let me check that real quick. I think that was something that I looked at and talked about in the last game. Yeah, Memphis has an offensive rating of 103. If the Lakers are ever going to do anything, they're not going to be able to make shots, I don't think. So I think they're going to have to do it on the defensive end. I lean towards the under in this game. Total coming down from 228.5 to 225.5, I think is right. And I still don't think it came down enough. The Lakers offense is going to struggle until they figure out a way to make shots consistently. And that just hasn't been happening. Taurean Prince, Cam Reddish, outside of AD blocks, nothing really seems consistent with this Lakers team. Maybe LeBron assists. This is playoff revenge as well. We know that the Lakers smoked the Memphis Grizzlies last year, and they already beat them one time earlier this season as well. That game was played in LA. They smoked them 134-107. Ja Morant was not present for that game on November 14th, and that game did go over the total as well. So I can't get there with laying points with the Lakers right now. Not losers of 3 straight, 4 of their last 5. Like I said, they only won 2 games of their last 10, and they beat a Charlotte team and an OKC team. That OKC win was impressive a couple days before Christmas, but they've looked pretty pathetic since then. And I honestly, like I said, with LeBron, kind of skipping the media thing, I'm not catching the falling knife with the Lakers, but I also couldn't take Memphis because, like I said, their offense has been so bad. So to me, like I said, all of that kind of makes me lean towards the under. Makes me lean towards the under. I really like the under in this game. And that's my look for this game. Let's see what y'all saying here. Lakers money line. That's a nasty, nasty number for that Lakers money line, Andrew. Dominic says Bojan Bogdanovic over 19.5 points. If he gets hot, he could definitely get to that. He lit Utah up, boy. Oh my God, he lit Utah up. He was hitting threes like it was a 3-point shootout. Coop says Lakers are a mess right now and hard to trust Memphis. No bet for me. I'm right there with you. LJ says under is the play. Memphis 15-7 to the under off a loss. Lakers 10-5 to the under at home. I would agree with that, LJ. I like the under. Even though it's come down to 225, I can see this game going even under that. Lakers pace is kind of slowed down as well. But that's it. That's it for the show. Real quick, let me go over, let's see, what I did play. Let me tell you guys what I did play for the card today. Actually, a lot of plays for me. I don't typically have this many plays. But going back to the top, I played Jalen Johnson over 26.5 points plus rebounds. Got that line at -110 on DraftKings in the Atlanta Hawks and the Pacers game. Also played Joel Embiid. I think he has a big, big game against the Knicks, especially without Mitchell Robinson. He actually went over the 51.5 with Mitchell Robinson the last time these two teams played last season. But Joel Embiid averaged over 50.5 points, rebounds, and 51.5 points, rebounds, and assists last month. And if it's going to be a competitive game and the Knicks don't get blown out, I really like that line a lot. So Embiid over his 51.5 points, rebounds, and assists. Jalen Johnson over his 26.5 points plus rebounds. Minnesota, first half, -1.5. Best line was on FanDuel. Minnesota full game, -3.5. I think it's some 3.5 still available, even though the line did touch 4. -107 is what I got it at on Unibet. So shop around for the best number. Toronto +5, -110 on FanDuel when I gave it out earlier. Just a half unit there because I didn't want to go get too heavily invested. But I went 0.55 units to win a half a unit. And then the other 0.57 units, so almost like 1 unit on Toronto. I took their team total over 116.5. Those are my top, 6 plays for today. Honorable mentions would be OKC -5 in their team total over 119.5. The New Orleans Pelicans and the Clippers game to go under 227.5. And Golden State and Detroit over 239.5 as well. Those are the top looks for today. Anybody got anything they want to share on Twitter? If so, send me a request. We'll get up a few really, really quickly before I get up out of here. I have been on for an hour and 30 minutes. And maybe if I get, let's see, I don't know how many likes I got. Somebody tell me how many likes I got on the video on YouTube. If I get maybe 200, see if I get to 200 likes, 175 likes on the show, I'll do a show tomorrow. It's going to be dependent upon the people that's watching right now and listening though. Let's get Cam up. Let's get Dream up and see what my guys are on. What's up, Cam? I'll let you go first. Talk to me. How you? Can you hear me, Cam?
Hey, sorry. Just looking for the mute button and all that. You doing good? You all right?
Yeah, I'm good, bro. How about yourself?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Hit big on, what's his name? Being Brook 3 times 3 blocks yesterday, so nice play for me. And took a boost that actually hit for once. So Dame 25 and Milwaukee win. That doesn't normally happen. Missed on a spread, but all in all, real good game, real good day. But yeah, let's get back to it. So what I'm on today is I'll start with my. Actually, no, I won't start with the Raptors play. I'm on OKC to cover -5. It's -4.5 now, so obviously take that if you're going to take the game. I just think after the Atlanta game, them drop points, I think they're going to come back strong, and I got no faith in this Brooklyn team right now. It's one of those lines I looked at being like, yeah, it could be trappy, but I just trust OKC to get it done. I obviously messed up the query. I was looking at teams coming off of with no rest and how OKC's done with no rest and back-to-back, and they're 3-1. So obviously it doesn't really take much credence since they have rest, but typically after a loss they bounce back. So I like OKC -5 today, but yeah, it's -4.5. now. So the next one that I'm on, sorry, I'm just trying to pull my bets real quick. Actually, I know this one off by quickly threes. So quickly is going to. I think his lines are going to move probably pretty quickly. They already have. He opened at like 15 when he first got thrown on there. It was 16 last game. Now it's 18 and a half. I think the books are realizing he's going to take them and hopefully make them. I think he's going to take about 8 threes tonight. And with that, I took his threes last night at plus 114 for 3. I don't know if that line moved. It did. It probably didn't move too much in the other direction, but quickly 3 threes is something I really like tonight. I also really like quickly rebounds and assists at 7.5 at plus 106. You can find a better number than that. I was just being lazy. The other numbers I found were a little bit better. I just didn't feel like moving money around, so I just stuck to the plus 106. So quickly over 7.5 rebounds and assists. How I got there with this one is quickly's assists are a bit unpredictable, but he's a really good rebounding guard. He's gone over that the 2 games he's been with the Raptors, but typically he's actually a pretty good rebounding guard. I actually think his assist line was a bit wrong, but I want to get a bigger sample size before I start hopping on his assist line just to see how it works with the team. So I got those 3 plays as my favorite straights. And then I'm also on, I do think Philly covers tonight. It's more of a, I played it. I don't know if everybody would be as confident. It's one of those things where I didn't do a ton of research yet. I was just talking to Sosa and chopping up with the boys last night. And I do like Philadelphia to cover the 6.5 today. But I mean, it's the Knicks, so like you said, they're really hard to bet for or against. You never know which team is actually going to show up. And then I've got a little fun parlay, and just to put it out there, I used a bonus bet on this, so it's kind of like, again, this is like, manage your dollars, but I took quickly 20 points, 4 threes, Scotty Barnes 6 assists, that's plus 600. I took that at points bet, so again, it's quickly 4 threes, 20 points, Barnes 6 assists. And then just wanted to give one thing you were speaking on about the Raptors versus the Kings in general. We're a bogey team for them. I think we've only lost 2 of the last 10 against them. And we have won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of the last in their crib. So take that information as you will, people. I don't like giving up the Raptors to win, as you know. But if anybody's thinking about taking the Raptors to win on the money line, tonight's not a bad look based on historicals and the fact that all the information you gave out about fading Sacramento, I was listening and being like, maybe I should have took them tonight. But yeah, that's just some information. So best of luck to everybody.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Hey, Cameron, real quick, I think a part of for people who've been tuning into the show for the last couple of years, you've really had a chance to watch me mature as a sports bettor. Because sometimes I'm I can't play this team, but sports betting is really about spots. You got to find those spots, and it don't matter who the other team is. You just got to realize that they're in an advantageous spot. And this was one of the things that I struggled with even a couple of weeks ago. And I'm just being honest and transparent with you guys. I came on here. I did the show. I talked about not liking Toronto when they were. It was a Friday night, matter of fact. Remember they were in Boston, and I said, man, Boston played really hard last night, and I really want to fade them tonight, but I can't do it with Toronto. And I really had to I think when I got done with the show, I went and did a workout, and when I was working out, it just started coming to me I don't know if Toronto gonna be able to, what they're gonna do to Boston, but I do think that they should be able to score in this spot. Boston shouldn't be locked in defensively. And then Porzingis got ruled out, and I took it. So it's more so just a spot play, man. I think, the only reason I share that because sometimes you got to be able to get over, some of the betting scares and traumas that you have with some of these. It's kind of locked into some of these teams. So, that's why I like Toronto. 2 weeks ago, I would have never given out a Toronto play, and here I am today giving out 2.
I'll probably realistically, if OKC covers it Philly, I'll probably jump on that money line just because of the spot. But yeah, I think that's an important one because it's the same thing that I have to get with betting the spreads, right? Starting to go team totals and I feel the team's going to beat a team at cover. I got to go that route versus trying to scare myself off why they should cover. So it's like, I think that's a good insight to give to people because we get in these moments where like, I'm not going to do this, but then you see a spot and like, wait, this is the right bet tonight. So even if it doesn't hit, when you look at the numbers, like winning 7 of your last 10, 7, it's just kind of like, see how this goes. It's one of those trends that just every team's got a bogey team. No matter what the team is, no matter where it is, it just happens that way.
That's a fact. That's a fact. And even with saying that, Kim, it's still a spot, right? Like the spot doesn't necessarily say that spot says take the Raptors. But if you look at the Kings are one of those real, like I said, Jekyll and Hyde teams. They go in the same category with the Knicks for me. If you go back and look at the Kings this season and last season, this season so far, if they're coming off an overtime game, they're 2-0 against the spread. They've covered both times. They covered against the Warriors. Even though they lost the game outright, they lost the game by 1. They were 7-point dogs, and they covered against the Thunder. They were catching a point and a half in that game and won that game outright. And if you go back to last season, they've actually won 4 games of the 7, covered 6 of the last 7 spreads when they're coming off an overtime game. And peep this, they're 7-0 to the under. And they pretty much, it makes no sense, but they're 7-0 to the under in this spot. But I faded this trend as well. So we'll see how it goes, man. Appreciate you, Cam. Best of luck tonight. Let's go, Dream. Dream, what's up?
What's the vibes, my guy? I hope all is well.
Absolutely, my brother. How you doing?
I'm good, man. Just short and sweet, man. I'm on the run right now.
Okay.
Obi Toppin, whatever is 15 points drop off and hit that. They on 15. I mean, they are plus 400 at DraftKings right now. Like the line, but I think we might be able to get a better line than that on FanDuel. So yeah, I already played his 8 rebounds on DraftKings at plus 1,200. Really like that. And the 3-point look. Well, first of all, Sam Merrill, his 3 threes is like plus 300 or something right now. He's a Cleveland shooter. He should get some good looks, but also look out for Caleb Houston of Orlando. But a specific blunt money bet that I'll give out is Lou Dort. Lou Dort 3 threes. Who did I put with Lou? I just want to make sure. I think I put him with Kelly Oubre. I think I put them both to have 3 threes.
I like that. I like that a lot, Dream.
Momento, por favor. Yeah. Kelly Oubre 3 threes. Lou Dort 3 threes on FanDuel plus 1,300. Kelly Oubre starting. He's gonna get his shots, and Lou Dort, he's got a beautiful history versus OKC. He's shooting 3s. I think he's got 4 every game he's played them. Last 4 or 5 games. So, yeah, man. Appreciate it. I definitely tailed your plays today, so I got a lot of my own. So yeah, man, let's catch.
Absolutely, Jay. So it's a beautiful slate, man. It's a beautiful, beautiful slate. I kind of took it all in yesterday, capped the games, didn't give out any plays. Just kind of wanted to see how the lines move, take my time with it. And yeah, I like Dream looks a lot. Obi Toppin. I don't know why Dream like Obi Toppin, but if you like him, I like that. The Sam Merrill one jumps off the page to me. That makes so much sense because I'm pretty sure he probably was one of the guys who didn't make the threes yesterday. But I kind of gave out the numbers when I gave out Donovan Mitchell threes to go over in the last game. So Sam Merrill to go over his 3.5 threes or 2.5 threes, whatever that number is, makes a lot of sense. The Nets are bottom 5 in the league at 3-point defense. So Lou Dort to hit 3 makes a lot of sense. And then Kelly Oubre being in that starting lineup for DeAnthony Milton tonight also makes tons of sense to me. Love the looks from Dream tonight. Best of luck, my guy. Appreciate you, Dream. I hope you cash, my brother. Let's go, Flo. Let's get Flo up, and then we'll get up out of here. Flo, talk to me. Happy Friday, my guy. Knicks play basketball tonight. What we doing? Flo, can you hear me? You there? Yo. See if we can get them connected. Nah, maybe not. Nah. Okay. Well, we tried. Check Flo page out. He I don't know if he's up here as a speaker or not, but I'm pretty sure he got some looks for tonight. He typically got a look on his Raptors at all times. Let's go back through the comment section real quick. Tasha said, y'all better hit that like button. Ross says 206 in here. Just hit the like. Bitsy says 114 only. Hit the like, man. Young Harlow says need a show tomorrow. Stop reminding everybody hit the like button as well. Nets are going to win this game. Mark my words, Mr. Nice Guy, like the Nets. Ross says he really likes Curry threes. Pistons can't guard a mailbox behind the perimeter, and Curry felt that loss last night. Sprinkle 40 and Warriors money line. Best of luck to you with that one, Ross. Steph could go crazy. He could go super crazy tonight, absolutely. But it might not necessarily be him. You got to pay a premium for Steph to score 40, or not enough, probably in my estimation. David says members show only tomorrow. Fair. Luka got ruled out. Young Harlow letting us know that. Breaking news from Sham about Siakam and serious trade talks to the Western Conference teams. We knew that was coming. That's not even breaking news, man. But yeah, real quick, I'll go back over it again. Minnesota, first half for me, minus the 1.5. Minnesota full game, minus the 3.5. Really like Toronto plus the 5. Toronto team total over 116.5. Got to fade them off the overtime game. Jalen Johnson, my favorite player prop tonight, over 26.5 points plus rebounds. And Joel Embiid, man, 51.5 points, rebounds, and assists for Joel Embiid tonight. No Mitchell Robinson. Should be a really good game for those guys. So best of luck. Appreciate everybody for tapping in. Extremely grateful for everybody who, just was on the show, came through, dropped plays, shared the show, commented, all that good stuff. Hope you guys cash your plays. Potentially could do a show tomorrow. Won't make any promises. But best of luck on your action tonight, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. I'm out.